President Trump's desire to rebalance America's economic relationship with the rest of the world. And so with that has come some strife in the US-India relationship. The other piece of this as well that we haven't touched on is immigration. And we've seen the visuals of those deportation flights going back, right? That's a hugely politically sensitive topic. But the Modi administration thus far has been relatively muted in any sort of criticism or response. And so, you know, we can imagine going forward, not to get ahead of ourselves here, I think a lot will depend on what happens with these trade negotiations that are in process. There's a sense of urgency in this White House to check that box to move ahead, because there have been a range of areas identified for future cooperation between the two sides. But I do think in these first 100 days, it's been the economic issues, and really from, as President Trump campaigned on, an American first perspective, that have been in the lead in terms of how his administration has approached its relationship with India.
Absolutely. Trade, immigration are essentially the two main aspects, trade being, of course, the primary aspect as far as Trump administration so far has been concerned about. And we're going to come to that also in a bit later. But the big picture, as you rightly mentioned, the broader relationship, the technology aspect of it, tech flows, defense, those are the other larger pieces, and the geopolitical goals and alignment as well. Given the fact this year, a Quad will be hosted by India later this year, and it will of course host the heads of state meeting as well. Very quickly, before we slip into that break, Mr. Gaikwad, let me bring you in on some of these aspects. What about the technology aspect, the geopolitical aspect? Do you think all of that is not at front and center, and it is trade that is really the primary issue through which, or the lens through which, relationships are being viewed by the Trump administration?
So let's talk about security, which is paramount for any country. It was shame that so many people were slaughtered, and it has shaken the India, and also we are almost come on the brink of war. Imagine just one incident. So geopolitical is so much connected with America. If America and India do the perfect cooperation in intelligence and all that, America is very ahead in the Pakistan region. We should take the best help President Trump is always ready to offer against any and every terrorist in the world. So that is the first thing. Second, as you mentioned, immigration is important, but it is not the paramount, because every country has its own right. But I think, me being a tourism guy for state of Florida, I was chairman of state of Florida tourism called Visit Florida. If there is no security, there is no tourism. There is no local tourism. There is no domestic tourism. There is no international. It will hurt India most than anything else. So in my mind, it's very important that America is our best ally to the India as of today.
Okay.
For the intelligence and have a geopolitical relationship. You have China knocking your doors in 21, attacked India on the northern region. Now you have Pakistan. We have a lot more problems than we can handle.
All right. Okay, I'm going to slip into that very short break, come back and talk more on this, along with, of course, defense cooperation. That is another key area of focus between the two countries, along with technology priorities. Stay with us. Rolling coverage of 100 days of Trump 2.0 continues right here on NDTV.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk. This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. Join us now because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into Smart Family Life Insurance. Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Days of Trump 2.0, rolling coverage right here at NDTV. And it's now time to focus on the US-India relationship through the prism of some of the other strategic factors that are bringing New Delhi and Washington, D.C. closer. Technology being one of them, and of course, defense cooperation being the other. Now, if one were to talk about the defense cooperation aspect, Elizabeth, the U.S. does intend to boost defense sales. It wants to do more co-production when it comes to defense in India. There's also defense technology that is being boosted, whether it is in space, in missile, across the board, maritime. These are also very important objectives, something that even the Vice President mentioned when he was here. So one, of course, is the wheel and the pivot around the economic aspects of the relationship. But some of the other aspects, how important do you think they are in terms of driving this forward? Because if one were to talk about, one thing is the 100 days gone by, what about the remaining 1,300 days going forward?
Yeah, I think the defense and technology aspects of this relationship are hugely consequential. And they are areas where there's really been substantial groundwork laid by successive administrations, right? It's difficult in Washington to point to another issue or another relationship where you can look back to the Clinton administration and draw a pretty clear line between where we were at the start of the century and where we are today. And I think this is one of them. And, the challenges that we face in that space are on the Indian side, a desire for greater transfer of technology. On the US side, continued sensitivities over ITAR and kind of meeting expectations, right? Getting to a place where both sides are able to move forward with some of these really consequential co-production deals. For example, we're talking about new procurements and co-production for the Javelin, for the Stryker. These are systems that had been under discussion in the previous administration as well. And I think, one thing I would highlight in this space is the urgency and the sense of speed that this administration in the US seems interested in, right? This doesn't strike me as a time when, continual many months, many years of back and forth is the need of the hour. And so there could be a degree of urgency to make material progress on these deals. And I think that's something that has been taken on board within the Indian system, but just has been a perennial source of some frustration, the speed with which these things move. We've also heard, about the F-35. It sounds like there's interest from the U.S. administration. I guess my advice would be, let's move forward on the systems that are already in the docket and demonstrate that there is ability to move quickly on these deals, to continue to build trust. But those deals, that additional source of investment from Indian companies to the U.S., this administration has been very clear that they are seeking additional Indian defense procurements from the U.S. And so finding mutually beneficial areas of cooperation in that space, I think will also aid in providing some ballast and some sense of movement in the relationship, some sense of progress, especially as on the other track, we're trying to work towards a trade agreement. So making sure that even though economic issues are in the lead right now, defense and technology aren't lost in the shuffle.
Absolutely. Economic issues are the primary driver, but some of these other issues are equally important. And that's exactly why it's important to also look at the big picture. While trade, economic policies, the tariffs have really dominated conversations here in India as well when it comes to the relationship with the US, some of these other important factors are equally a priority for India. And Mr. Gaikwad, let me then ask you about the tech flows of it. As an investor, as an entrepreneur, how much do you think the shift towards having more production lines in India because of a factor led by an exodus from China maybe, how much of that do you think will be a catalyst when it comes to the tech flows between India and the US?
So you ask very, very vital question. It's always in my mind. Imagine if China is not your production ground, who is the one next frontier? So instead of we nitpicking what I make and what I lose, we need to see a way broader picture and see how we can cooperate, which area we cooperate. Technology, India dominates in the world. If we take advantage of technology and put aside little petty things, which matters to America, which also may matters to India, this is the greatest opportunity. We are top in a pharmaceutical, we are top in a technology, we are dominating that. Yes, we do not have bulk drugs, but we are one of the largest generic medicine manufacturer in the world. So, and now the technology, yes, semiconductors, conductors, if they are coming on India's way, it will change India's surface. We see what happens. Media focuses on issues which are sometimes very necessary and sometimes very unnecessary. The country should focus, not what media focus. Country should know what is the benefit in me, where the Trump's policies are aligning. If we fight policies, it's not going to help. But we need to see where advantage can. Once you become a better partner, and we are, India's #1 partner is America. Remember, and America's top 20 partner is not even India. So we have the most opportunity to be taken care. Technology is a paramount. Pharmaceutical is that. Textile is there. So opportunity is God-given. America want to get away from China. We should be the second alternate, nobody else. And this is the opportunity we need to grab.
All right. On that note, I have to take that commercial break. We've covered a lot of ground. We're going to slip into a break. We're going to come back and talk more about trade and immigration, the two contentious issues where a lot of progress has been made between India and US. Stay with us. We come back with our rolling coverage of 100 days of Trump 2.0.
Packed lunches don't have to cost a packet. At Aldi, these school dinner winners are just £8 2p. At this price, it's scanner time.
Just going for a break.
I want to break free.
Oh, hey, just the man I'm just going for a break.
God knows I want to break free. But life still goes on.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
You could save money on your energy, broadband and mobile bills and feel more protected when you switch to a better deal. Switch and save now at uswitch.com.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Hey, look at our Simply Safe home security system.
Let's install it.
We need another camera.
What for?
The collectibles. What?
Now you've got a camera each.
Yay!
Systems start from under £200 when you buy a professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
At Green Flag, we don't just save motorists at the roadside, we'll also save you money by halving your AA or RAC renewal when you get our most similar UK vehicle cover. If it isn't half your original renewal price, let us know and we'll pay you the difference. Green Flag's got you. Search Green Flag.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharps this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
Days of Trump 2.0, and we at NDTV have been bringing you all the insights, perspectives, stories and views that matter, that help decode what is the relationship between India and US till now, how it has benefited and what is the roadmap ahead. On your screens are some numbers that really encapsulate what the Trump presidency has been all about. That tells you the number of bills passed, the executive orders that have been signed, where those executive orders have been prioritized, and of course also the number of times that some of these issues have landed the Trump administration in courts. And in fact, on your screens, we are going to first, over the course of the next 30 minutes, we are now going to focus on the two important issues, which is trade and immigration, the two issues that really are at the heart of the impact that New Delhi has faced from the Trump administration. Trade first, because this administration views trade at the very center of any bilateral relationship. And before I go any further, I want to play out this soundbite by President Trump on the trade deal with India that is progressing rapidly.
India is coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India. The Prime Minister, as you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Danny Gaikwad, Mr. Bharat Barai, and in fact, Mr. Srini Raghavan are with me to talk more about, well, the two aspects of the India relationship, the trade and the immigration part of it. We just heard President Trump where he said that a deal with India is likely to happen fairly soon. Treasury Secretary has said that it could be the first off the block, really. And Dr. Barai, thank you so much for joining me right now. Very good morning to you as well, sir. Let me start by asking you, how much of a breakthrough will this be for the India-US relationship? If the trade deal is done and dusted and prioritized and finished, will it then allow the relationship to probably move forward and address some of the other issues as well?
Yes, psychologically, yes. India, Japan, and South Korea, they are trying to work out the deal, and I hope India is the first one to do it. It will not only help India's manufacturing, but it will also improve the relationship. You know, the government of India under Prime Minister Modi has taken a very wise approach. Instead of trying to have knee-jerk type of reaction that, oh, if you impose tariffs on us, we are also going to impose counter tariffs on you, they took a smart approach, negotiated the deal, and now if the deal is negotiated and India has much lower tariffs or no tariffs, depending upon what it comes out, many of the manufacturing industries will try to shift to India because when they export to USA, they will have much lower duty or no duty. I heard that Apple is trying to move all the manufacturing of the iPhones, which will be exported to USA from China to India. So that's a very smart move on part of government of India, and I hope it is successful. And when you are cooperating in the trade, it also fosters a general relationship between the two countries, will help in immigration, will help in defense, it will help in every area.
Indeed. And in fact, let me put that across to Mr. Gaikwad as well, which is that when we are talking about some of the other aspects of this deal and the trade relationship being at the center of it, okay, I think there's an audio issue. We're going to fix that in just a bit. And I'm also going to, in fact, get in US ISPF expert in just a bit to talk more about the trade aspect also. But Mr. Raghavan, I want to understand from you, when we talk about the trade deal with India, the fact that it is in its final stages of closure, what do you think is the kind of messaging and impact this will have on the larger India-US relationship?
Thank you, Gaurie, and good morning, good evening to everybody. I think tremendous is the word. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, and I think being first to the table, like Mr. Bharat was pointing out, I think was the key. Right? You can see this dichotomy. India really wanting to play a positive role, and obviously the relationships between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi are a catalyst. So that's very, very observable, right? But once you have that, I think India putting the hard work and along with the US to try to really make this a fair deal for both, I think will have a hugely positive impact, not just on trade, but I think overall cooperation. Because again, you got to view trade in just not the context of trade, but overall geopolitics. It's a flow of money, essentially, right? So if we can, as India, take a better position and come in and probably beat China, which I don't see any signs from China to making a trade so far, I think it'll cut off a lot of the money route. With a lot of the geopolitical conflicts going on, whether it's Pakistan or whether it's Russia. I mean, we don't have to say it, but you know who's behind a lot of this stuff or where the money is flowing from. So I think it will have hugely positive consequences. India is obviously going to shoot up to the top of the radar, and I think India will become a major force, major ally within the South Asia region for the US.
That's exactly what I wanted to understand. I'm going to speak to Mark Lingscott in just a bit about the nitty-gritties of the trade deal. But this is a conversation that is focused on trying to understand the larger ramification of getting that trade deal done early on in the administration. Which brings me to ask the other issue, Dr. Brai, which is something that the Indian American community has also been facing and dealing. That is the issue related to immigration. It impacts India on many levels, whether it's the F1s, visas, whether it is the H1B, or in fact even senior citizens being impacted, those who spent outside of the US 180 days or more. How do you see that issue, sensitive, contentious, politically important at the same time, being addressed between the two sides?
You know, this has been way overblown. There are very small number of people who are affected, either those people who stupidly participated in demonstration in front of the Hamas terrorists at the universities, and you are talking about maybe few. Most of the Indian Americans, and there are 5.5 million of us in the United States, they are feeling fine and we have no effect whatsoever. F1 visa, again, they are going to be issued to the Indian students just like before. Visitors visa are going to be issued to the Indians just like before. yes, there will be scrutiny, and those people who are participating in anti-US propaganda, they will be scrutinized and probably not offered the visa. But that's not what 99.9% of the Indians do. So I think this issue is way, way overblown. Yes, there were illegals who were coming from Mexico border, some from Canada border. They are not coming anymore because they realize what will be the consequences. And really, no country should allow illegal immigration. India, we are very sure about the Bangladeshi illegals that have migrated. So is USA very sure about the illegals. And not only they migrate illegally from those borders, they also bring drugs, they bring the crime and many other things. So I don't think that is going to affect the Indian Americans. In fact, if there is a successful trade deal between USA and India, India will be looked as a very favorable country that is easy to negotiate and come to a rational agreement. And that might actually increase the visas and opportunities for Indians coming to USA.
Dr. Brai, that's a very important point that you've made, and we're going to try and put that out as well for our viewers who are joining in right now to understand the larger impact of this conversation, which is that if a negotiation happens early, there are early pacts being signed, the perception that goes out is that deal making is not so cumbersome in India, which allows some of the other issues to also, or some of the other aspects of this relationship to also take off. Mr. Raghavan, then let me ask you about the visa-related, immigration-related issues that I put forth to Dr. Brai. How do you view those being impacted right now, given the fact that the sense one has in India is that whether it's F1s, whether it is H1Bs, India does get impacted quite significantly by some of these measures?
Absolutely. So I think there would be one thing that we should start with is that there has been a lot of fraud on the H1B side, right? So the F1, come here, do your work, do your studies, don't participate in unwanted stuff like all these protests and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think that is very clear. But as far as the H1B process is concerned and the fraud that has been discovered in that, I think that has been gone on for way too long. So I think the government is really trying to fix that, which again, I mean, that is the prime motive and duty of the government is to fix those kind of things. So once that is fixed and once the process is streamlined, that plus all the positivity coming out of the deal making, I think will go accretive, and I think the process will become much smoother. I think with industry and trade partnerships going on, and I'll give you an example not related to software, for example, right? So if you look at EVs, electric vehicles, I mean, India is really expanding into electric vehicles. A lot of the bus fleets are getting converted and things like that. So we need more of EV manufacturing, EV technology, and all that in India. So cooperating with the US, which has been much, much ahead of India in that particular sphere, I think would be a very positive. So that will exchange a lot of talent back and forth. That will exchange a lot of industry back and forth, particularly in that sector. And I think to do that, you need more visas, right? So I think it will be overall a positive, Gaurie.
We indeed do need more visas and an open and more flexible policy with regard to legal immigrants. I think there is no dispute or disagreement when it comes to illegal immigrants. India took the entire flight back aircraft that came with the illegal immigrants because New Delhi is completely in sync with Washington when it comes to illegal immigrants. It's about the concerns regarding the legal immigrants that we are putting forth here. And Mr. Gaikwad, let me then bring that question to you as well about the issues related to legal immigrants. Is that's a concern here in New Delhi? Do you think it's being blown up disproportionately, or is that a view that people in Washington also share?
No, ma'am. I had a personal meeting with the immigration team. I attended last 4 seminars there. There is no India against any feelings or anything. But if country has a certain rule, then we have to follow them, nothing else. Matter of fact, India is the most favored. I still know India has the highest H1B visas out of any country today. So if you look at the visitors, we are on the forefront. If you look at any other visa category, we are ahead. We have million plus H1B visas people in America. So many country has. India has a clear advantage to work with America and not to criticize them and not, put any stupid statements, because that will hurt us. Trump is very conscious. He's saying in a first term also that he want merit-based immigration, which I agree 100%. Because if we come with a merit-based immigration, we will be
Yes.
the most benefited because we have a highly educated, from masters to PhDs to doctors, we have it.
Yes.
And that pool we can supply to the America with the American will. So I
Indeed.
think we have tremendous opportunity.
Hmm.
Rather than we going in a little patty stuff, this guy is been
Okay.
sent back. Yeah, if you're illegal, we're gonna send you back. I mean, which country wants illegal to stay in their country? And first
Okay.
of all, illegal has no rights. I want more rights for those who come on a legal immigration,
Correct.
not illegal. I'm least concerned.
Correct.
And you said properly. Narendra Bhai Modi has decided to accept as many as illegal you found and he's taking.
Yes.
But in the same token, we are the only country is benefited as of
Right.
today. So I think it's a great, I could even say balle balle.
Okay.
Best
Doctor-
for India is ahead.
Okay.
Technology they need it. They need arts and science. They need in every India. I'm a
Let me
trustee
ask
for
this to Dr.
University
Barai.
of Central
Dr.
Florida.
Barai, where do you see the balle balle actually coming to fruition the most?
It's a hard
Well,
to
it's
hear,
going to
but
be coming
I
to
hope you can
fruition
hear
for
me.
both India and USA in all the aspects, not only in more issuance of visa under H-1B, student visa, visitors visa, but also in the defense deal. We need sensitive defense technology, high defense technology, because we have two neighbors, Pakistan, which is sending terrorists across in our country, and China, which is constantly trying to undermine India. So it's going to help us in getting the top-notch defense technology. It will help us in trade. We can certainly import more energy from USA. We can import more aircraft from USA. We can import more agricultural items from USA, as well as high-level technology items. So
Or
politically, militarily, educationally, trade-wise, it's a plus-plus deal for both India as well as USA.
indeed. And in fact, Mr. Raghavan, then let me ask you this as well in terms of some of those opportunities that Dr. Barai mentioned, a whole gamut of those opportunities, a positive view that may emerge for New Delhi after the trade pact being signed. Where do you see all this in terms of the larger geopolitical alignment as well? Because let's not forget, there's also a Quad meeting that will take place in India. Prime Minister Modi will chair that heads of state meeting. And the focus of that is expected to be greater alignment on strategic and security issues.
Absolutely. I think from again, as I alluded previously, I mean, the trade is just the starting of it, right? And it controls the money flow. And I think from a strategic military intelligence perspective, I mean, you've already seen after the attack in Pahalgam, both, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and FBI Director Kash Patel openly voicing their support in terms of, whatever data is needed, whatever intelligence is needed, US is with India. So I think that statement has been made clear, but it will only get clearer and louder as we go forward. Again, I think it's time that, and I'm sure China and Pakistan are taking note of this. But where I see a little bit of a rub is probably what's going to happen with Russia, right? With India importing so much of Russian oil, I'm sure that's part of the discussions. And going back to what Mr. Barai was saying, I think India importing more and more energy to offset that dependence is probably one of the top negotiation points, or at least one of the key negotiation points within the whole context of it. But as far as military technology is concerned,
Yes. Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
I can,
Yeah,
sir.
so
We
as
were
far
just
as-
amping up the audio of Prime Minister Modi and President Trump meeting of February 13. That was playing out in the background. But I take your point, and I want to put that across very quickly to Dr. Barai as we wrap things up, which is a very important point that Srini made about the fact purchase of Russian oil probably being the most sticking point, where President Trump would be pushing for greater purchase of American energy by New Delhi.
Well, what has happened is, yes, once upon a time when the Russian oil was very cheap, going at $20 to $30 a barrel, India acted smartly in its own best interest and got it. But now that Russian oil is almost trading around $55 to $60 per barrel, we are not buying that much of quantity. Now the price has evened out, whether we buy it from America, whether we buy it from Middle East, or whether we buy it from Russia. And now if we are trying to balance the trade with United States, this is one area where India can buy more oil, more natural gas from USA to try to bridge the trade gap that exists between the two countries. So I think it will be a very smart move.
Indeed, it will be. And on that note, I have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Srini Raghavan joining me from Texas, Dr. Barai joining me from Chicago, and Mr. Gaikwad joining me from Florida. I'm going to slip into a break, come back on the other side, talk more about, well, the juiciest story that came out of the 100 days of President Trump's administration, the Signalgate saga. You want to hear that because that was the other big fallout, or probably the biggest miss of the 100 days of President Trump's administration. Stay with us. We come back with that story.
We know that living with diabetes can make daily life a challenge, and we're here to help.
I felt very low with the diagnosis and very lonely as well, and embarrassed.
I think people don't necessarily realise the impact that being diabetic can have on you, and the amount of extra decisions you have to make a day through carb counting every single thing you eat.
If you're struggling with the everyday challenges diabetes can bring, become a Diabetes UK member today. Receive this informative welcome pack and Balance magazine.
Balance magazine has been very good in giving me tips to manage my diabetes on a day-to-day basis.
One of the things I was recommended to do was exercise. What motivated me was my love of dance, and I got that back.
Join a community that really understands. Call 0800 035 7605 or go online to become a member for just £3 a month.
If your garage looks like this, you need Tougher Man. A leading supplier of shelving for your home or business. Assembly is quick, easy and boltless. Buy one bay from just $59.99, or you can get 3 bays from only $119.99, saving you nearly £60. Plus you get a 5-year Storelex steel guarantee. Order now at tougherman.co.uk.
This baby bear is terrified. Torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Every month, your £3 could help us free more bears. Help give bears the veterinary care they need and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone and help Four Paws free bears from agonising torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
"100 days of Trump 2.0, and the one big controversy was the Yemen war plans being leaked on a chat on a messaging platform. And that was the Signalgate saga. What was it all about, and how close was the administration in terms of those war plans being leaked, and what was the larger impact of that? We decode in this report that's been filed by my colleague Disha Bagchi.
The first 100 days of US President Donald Trump's second administration has had many twists and turns. But perhaps the most significant disruption to hit this administration so far has been the explosive Signalgate scandal, a massive national security lapse that shook Capitol Hill and sent senior-most national security officials in the administration scrambling after they were found discussing plans to strike Yemen's Houthis on the American messaging app Signal. Let's take a quick look at what happened. On March 11th, US NSA Mike Waltz created a group chat on Signal to discuss plans on bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. Over the next few days, top officials, including US VP J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, CIA Chief John Ratcliffe, among others, discussed key details of the upcoming strikes, all witnessed by Atlantic Editor-in-Chief Jeffrey Goldberg, who was accidentally added to this chat by Mike Waltz. Almost 10 days later, Goldberg published an explosive article on The Atlantic, revealing specific details of the Signal conversation, but stopping short of sharing the complete chats, which included Pete Hegseth sharing the exact timeline of the strikes, given Goldberg felt that the nature of the chats was classified. For the next 48 hours, the Trump administration downplayed the leaks, with Donald Trump calling it not a serious security lapse, saying that they won't use Signal anymore. Meanwhile, Mike Waltz took full responsibility for the lapse, calling it a mistake. But Pete Hegseth doubled down and said that no classified details were shared and calling the US mission in Yemen a success. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard testified in Congress and said that no classified information was shared. After the Trump administration repeatedly insisted that the chats were not classified, the Atlantic editor-in-chief, in a second explosive article, revealed the full screenshots of the chats, including the list of members who were part of the group, further shocking Washington. So what was the aftermath of the scandal? While the White House launched an internal probe into the matter, Democrats were furious, demanding that Waltz and Hegseth resign. But US President Trump backed his administration. He backed Mike Waltz and Hegseth despite these leaks.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of our very special show on 100 Days of Trump 2.0. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Lunches don't have to cost a packet. At Aldi, these school dinner winners are just £8 2p. At this price, it's scanner time.
Get £8 off at selected restaurants on Just Eat. Use code APRIL8 now.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Did we?
Yes, we did.
Professional monitoring?
Activated.
This summer, leave your worries behind. Protect what matters to you with SimpliSafe Home Security. Systems start from under £200 with a professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
If you have cancer, you may feel overwhelmed with worries.
Will I lose my hair?
How bad will my side effects be?
How do I cope with waiting?
What happens now? Whatever your cancer worries, Macmillan is here for you. Whether you're anxious about side effects, waiting for test results or appointments, or just need someone to listen, don't struggle alone. Whatever you need to ask, we're here for you 7 days a week. Call Macmillan for free now on 0808 258 8000.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharps this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
In People's Postcode Lottery's May draws, you could win a share of £15.6 million. For the chance to win, sign up before midnight tonight.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Government's big move ahead of Bihar polls. Modi government announces caste census. Cabinet clears a big decision. Caste to be counted in the next census. Caste census sparks credit war now. Opposition says government has bowed down to our demands. It's a day of key meetings in New Delhi in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack. After two top security meetings, Prime Minister met with top ministers. Today, he also held the cabinet meeting and the second CCS meeting after the Pahalgam terror attack. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee inaugurates Jagannath Temple. Mamata Banerjee says she invites everybody to see the magnificent temple. BJP calls Diga a cultural center, says TMC misleading people. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. Modi government will be enumerating caste as part of its upcoming census. This is a very important announcement, and the timing of this is particularly interesting. The nation is angry and grieving over the lives lost in recent Pahalgam terror attack. A caste census, remember, was a long-standing demand by the Congress party and also certain opposition parties, but welfare and representation, BJP under Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also tried to showcase itself as the only political party that's committed to the interests of deprived sections of the society. Now, this is undoubtedly a big move with political and social ramifications, political reactions, owning of credit, appropriation of viewpoints, and also politics over this has already begun. But the larger point here is also the government drawing a distinction between the UPA conducted SECC in 2011 and also caste surveys being done in many Congress-ruled states, saying all of that is unscientific and the BJP will do a better job of it because census is, after all, a union subject. Now, it also shows when it comes to the Bahujan of this country, BJP wants to walk the extra mile because Hindu unity is core to its politics. Remember, this is what the RSS has also been talking about. Incidentally, only yesterday, the Prime Minister had a very important meeting with RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat at his residence. Let's look at what this means for the politics of this country, starting with some reactions to this story.
It is well understood that Congress and its Indy alliance partners have used caste census only as a political tool. To ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics, caste enumeration should be transparently included. I'm emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys. This will strengthen the social and economic structure of our society while the nation continues to progress. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census.
ये हम लोगों की 30 वर्ष पुरानी मांग रही है और ये हमारे पुरखों की जीत है, समाजवादियों की जीत है, लालू जी की जीत है। आज हम लोगों की ताकत देखिए, समाजवादियों की ताकत देखिए कि इनको हमारे ही एजेंडे पर जो है काम करना पड़ रहा है। तो अब हमारी अगली लड़ाई ये होगी कि जब ये जनगणना होगी जिसमें इंक्लूड किया जाएगा कास्ट सेंसस का भी, तब उसके बाद जब नतीजे आएंगे देश के जो विधानसभा चुनाव में हमारी मांग रहेगी कि पिछड़ों और अति पिछड़ों के लिए भी, जैसे दलित और आदिवासी भाइयों का आरक्षित सीटें हैं, जो है आरक्षित सीटें जो है वो करनी पड़ेगी।
ये बड़ा और ऐतिहासिक फैसला है जिसके लिए मैं अपनी तरफ से, मेरी पार्टी लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी रामविलास की तरफ से, मेरे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। मेरे बिहार की 14 करोड़ जनता की तरफ से और समस्त देशवासियों की तरफ से मुझे लगता है आज एक लंबी जो हम लोगों की इच्छा थी, मांग थी, ख्वाहिश थी, आज हर उस देशवासी की इस ख्वाहिश को मेरे प्रधानमंत्री ने पूरा करने का कार्य किया। जातीय जनगणना का सबसे ज़्यादा असर देश के तमाम उन गरीब जातियों से आने वाले लोगों को होगा जो संभवतः अभी तक मुख्य धारा के साथ नहीं जुड़ पाए हैं, केंद्र राज्य सरकार की योजनाओं का उस स्तर पर लाभ नहीं ले पाए हैं जो अपेक्षित था।
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को मैं विशेष तौर पर धन्यवाद देता हूँ, बधाई देता हूँ। बिहार और पूरा देश आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को याद कर रहा है, जिन्होंने जातीय जनगणना के साथ जोड़ने का काम किया है। बिहार और पूरा देश आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को विशेष तौर पर बधाई देता है। और साथ ही साथ क्योंकि कई पार्टी सिर्फ जातीय जनगणना को राजनीतिकरण करने का काम कर रही थी, इसलिए आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी को मैं फिर से बधाई देता हूँ।
ನಮ್ಮ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟೋನಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ। ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಬರೀ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು। ಬರೀ ಈಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜನಗಣತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್। ಅದೇ ಸರಿಯಪ್ಪ, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್। सोशल जस्टिस ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ सोशियो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ।
मनमोहन सिंह जी साहब ने इसका सेंसस करवाया था, 2011 तक इसका सेंसस पूरा हुआ था। फिर भी ये सेंसस को लागू करने के लिए, सेंसस को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए बहुत सारी दिक्कतें लाएगी और उसका विरोध पुरजोर से अभी की सरकार ने किया था। कास्ट वाइज सेंसस की घोषणा सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर वैष्णो जी ने की, इसका हम स्वागत करते हैं। सच तो यह है कि ये काफी दिनों से हमारी मांग थी। राहुल जी ने संघर्ष करके इस मांग को कंटिन्यूस स्क्रीनिंग की बात की थी कि हर समाज को उसको अधिकार मिले। ये विशेष रूप से ओबीसी समाज को ये अधिकार मिले और उनके आरक्षण का भी जो प्रॉब्लम हो वो भी सॉल्व हो.
It's been a long-standing demand of the opposition parties, the Congress, the DMK and other parties which believe in positive social justice, that we needed some sort of a data for reservation or for other welfare measures which had to be targeted to the population which deserves. So this is something that we have been asking the union government to do. Now the BJP has understood that it is a genuine question or the genuine demand of the people that was put by opposition.
My colleagues Harsha, Deepak Bopanna and also Sam Daniel are joining us now. Harsha, to you first. Harsha, it was in Rajasthan where the Prime Minister had made that important pitch during elections 2024. Given what happened in 2024 and what is happening today, this announcement of caste census, how do you understand, how do you reflect on the learnings that the BJP has had in the course of the last few months?
Well, yes, absolutely. You know, they have started looking very closely at the caste matrix, and for a state like Rajasthan, caste is really key. Sometimes the caste is more important than any overriding emotion. So you saw in 2023, Ashok Gehlot in Baswara announced on World Tribal Day that, you know, if the Congress was voted back to power, they would carry out a caste survey. Now we saw that the BJP also had to deal with these caste dynamics in Rajasthan. If you look at the caste flashpoints, a lot of the former BJP leaders, so that goes back to 2001, 2002. They started the reservation movement for the economically weaker sections in the upper caste. Then there was the Gujar agitation, which said that, look, we are in OBC, but we're not getting the benefits of reservation. We want to be in tribals. Then you had the Jats of Dholpur and Bharatpur saying that, you know, if all other Jats have reservation, why have we been exempted? Just because we are a former royal state. You also saw, the Malis, smaller reservation movements like the Malis agitating for reservation. And then, of course, you saw this whole Gangajal controversy where, a Dalit leader went into a temple and it was sprinkled with Gangajal. The BJP immediately realized that it's something that they'll have to pay the political price for, and they sacked Gyandev Ahuja. So that's how important the caste matrix is in Rajasthan. We've been talking, like you said, the overarching Hindu identity is something that the BJP has tried to push, especially in tribal areas, and yet you see the growth of the Bharatiya Adivasi Party, which is a party with a completely new tribal identity. It's not Congress, it's not BJP. So that's important. That's how important the caste matrix is in Rajasthan. I would in fact say caste is key to understanding the politics of Rajasthan.
Absolutely. Deepak, you belong to a state which has just recently seen this whole discord in the Congress party because of the leaked report of caste survey. Tell us what was the fallout of that, and how is the Congress party looking at today's announcement, because Siddaramaiah has already come out with a statement.
Well, they'll be looking at it very keenly, especially some within the Congress party, especially some of their own ministers, because of the fact that, they have had issues with the state census. Though they're, of course, not naming it a census, they're saying it's a socio-economic survey. But we've seen a lot of differences, haven't we, in the past. But there was a very clear instruction that was given by the Congress High Command, especially to Karnataka, which was somewhere, putting this particular survey on the back burner. 2015 is when it was commissioned. In 2025 is when they've actually gone ahead and accepted it, and then even taken it up for discussion, and even now the report has not been made completely public. So that is where some of the challenges, of course, lie as far as the state census is concerned. Now that the center is saying that we will come out with a comprehensive census and we will come out with the data of the caste enumeration in the country, the Chief Minister has already said this is a part of the Congress manifesto, was mentioned in the past, and we'll really have to see how they will go into the details, especially if it is going to be a socio-economic survey, because only that could actually do justice to the backward classes. So we could also see in a short while from now the AICC president, who is at his residence here in Bengaluru, react as well, and we'll be putting out that for our viewers.
Okay, Sam Daniel joins us from Chennai. Sam, tell us how are the Dravidian parties expected to look at this, because this was something that the DMK also was supporting the Congress for, and AIDMK now is in alliance with the BJP there.
That's right, Vasudha. The ruling DMK welcomes this, saying it's a shot in the arm for the opposition, for the India bloc, which mounted pressure. And this has made, in a sense, the BJP make a U-turn after claiming this is impractical and will be divisive in that sense. And with 1 year to go for elections in the state, the ruling DMK hopes this will, in a sense, consolidate the OBCs in that sense. And the BJP, of course, having struck or revived alliance with the AIADMK, hopes to consolidate particularly the votes of the Tevar community, which it's trying to unite since after Jayalalitha's death, after the rivalry between EPS and OPS, the party in a sense is divided, and they hope that this will unite them and bring them together in one bloc to help them expand their footprint in the state. For safety reasons, in a sense, the DMK avoided going for the Caste survey, saying that it can be done to be only by the center to be legally valid. And the bigger question would be, in a state which has the highest percentage of reservation, 51%, would the outcome of caste census be in any way contradictory to the present form?
Right.
And that could be seen as a majoritarianism. That's something the government is cautious, but they hope that will not happen. The census could reflect the way things are at the moment on the ground, they say.
Right. Thank you, Sam Daniel. Thank you, Harsha, and thank you, Deepak, for joining us with those details. We have Chandan Gowda, who's a political analyst. We have Adil Singh Boparai from the Congress Party. We have Shazia Ilmi of the BJP, and we have Dr. Milind Awad, who's also somebody who understands caste. Joining us now, Shazia, to you first. In 2011, the data of the socio-economic and caste census, which was done by the UPA government, the data has still not been released because in fact, this is what the centre said in Supreme Court in 2021, that 46 lakh different castes. You know, there were a lot of complexities, multiplicity of caste. How is the government looking at overcoming these challenges? How foolproof do you think, and how transparent do you think the exercise is going to be?
First of all, Vasudha, thank you for inviting me on your show. And I want to tell everybody, to all the viewers of NDTV, through you, Vasudha ji, that it's indeed historic. First time ever since independence, caste census will be a part of the population census. And this will be done alongside the population census, which was pending. We all know it was to be done and had to be done during COVID. So it's actually great news and historic news. And despite the fact that it comes in 7th schedule, and Union could have done it anytime earlier, despite many promises in 2010. And despite the fact that the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had promised to include the caste census, Congress always deterred. So it had to say one thing on the face of it and use the entire idea of caste census and talking about it as a political tool and keeping the cauldron burning. But when it comes to action and doing it, the cabinet has approved this very big historic decision, which will have a huge impact. And it is already sending some kind of tremors to the India Alliance. Of course, I've changed the name and I call them Pindi Alliance because they're Rawalpindi folks. But I really think it's been stumped. But more than that, more importantly, it's a big win for India. And the idea the Prime Minister has of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and justice, social justice, and economic justice. And all this information, according to caste, along with the name, gender, age, and other details, will be taken by the population census and ensure that what exactly is the position of various castes. Because until now, it was only scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
Right.
So for the first time since independence, I should say after 1931, I think this is being done. So this is historic indeed.
So that's a very valid point. Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress Party. After the Congress and the India bloc made very fierce demands about the national caste census, now we do see the caste census coming up. But it also shows that the BJP is willing to walk that extra mile. It does not really care about whose idea is it. This is not part of its commitments to people. It's not an ideological promise, but clearly the BJP realizes that this is something that the Bahujan of the country wants, and it wants to do that. Do you see this as something that can blunt the narrative of social justice that Rahul Gandhi has been talking about?
It's a vindication. It is a vindication of our position. It is a vindication of our vision. And if hypocrisy had a name and a face, it is the BJP today. Absolutely, this is a decision in the right direction. It was after Congress party's sustained and continuous perseverance on the floor of the House and outside the House that the BJP has to finally buckle. They had no option because there was groundswell of anger. They can't make a necessity and masquerade it as a virtue. They had no option because the Congress party and 1.4 billion people of this country had mounted unparalleled pressure on this government to act. And therefore, they buckled and they've acted. So therefore, we welcome this decision. Having said this, there are a few pointers. The BJP should not just make it appear like a slogan and forget about it. This needs to be done immediately and as soon as possible. They should not delay it on some pretext or the other like they did with the women's reservation bill. The BJP has a track record of making announcements and being short on implementation. That's number one. Number two, it must be done in a transparent manner. Number three, there are several Congress-ruled governments, opposition governments, where this has already been put into action. So therefore, they must seek our advice on the nuts and bolts of this census. We can contribute. If we have to work as a cohesive unit, if we have to work as Team India, they must be open to best practices which we've already adopted. Because at the end of the day, it is the people of this country. We are servants of the people of this country. We exist to serve this country. Okay. So therefore, if there are ideas, there are policy measures which can be borrowed by them, they must be open to it. Unfortunately,
okay, before I come to Shazia, Professor Gowda, clearly the BJP has had a rethink in the last many years, and there's nothing wrong in that because political parties have to evolve according to needs of their population. But how do you see this as a political gamble? Do you see this as a logistical challenge? What do you think the government should be thinking about right now to get this exercise right? Because in Karnataka, in your own state, we saw this creating a lot of discord even amongst the ruling party leaders.
Yeah. So Vasudha, I don't see any logistical difficulties. It's just an additional column with the existing columns in the National Census Survey papers. So it doesn't cost much extra money at all. Please remember, every state doing its own survey, like Telangana, Karnataka, Bihar, they've spent crores of rupees, lots of people actually on the ground collecting data over months, etc. All of this could have been averted if it had the caste census earlier on. Just for the record, the Vajpayee government was under pressure to do it by civil society activists. They didn't do it. The Congress government it announced to do it in 2011 and went back and had a separate caste census, which is not helpful because just having data on caste without being able to link it with socioeconomic indicators is not very useful at all. But it's being done now. If there's one advantage of having a delayed national census is it's going to include this variable now.
Right. Dr. Awad, also help us understand what does this mean for the SC/ST, OBC population of this country? Because, we've been talking a lot about representation. Does that also mean that, proportional representation could be on the, could be something that we can look at in the future, and also rejig of quotas? What does this mean for the Bahujan of this country?
Precisely. I think this decision is too late to, welcome, because first caste census was done in 1932. Second caste census was done in 1962, and after that there was demand, particularly post-Mandal India and Indian polity raised this demand, and this demand was quite visible across the country. So whenever now we talk about OBC reservation and further fragmentation within OBC reservation, caste census was one of the major issues which was discussed across the state. So if you take the example of OBC reservation in Haryana, Jat reservation, reservation of Maratha reservation in Maharashtra, Lingayat reservation and their claim in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So these examples, this demand and their assertion basically based on the participation in the liberal democratic institution through reservation is one of the major issue. But since we did not have caste census, there was no rational, empirical or statistics to rationalize reservation based on preference or preferential reservation or further split in reservation. So basically, I'll just finish my point. So basically, now if you take the example of Telangana, there is demand of...
Right, Dr. Awad, that's a very valid point. Let me just get in Shazia here, because Adil has also been saying that, you know, this is because of the Congress party's vindication. How do you see this, Shazia, when opposition parties say that this is the BJP following, you know, their, in a sense, their demands?
I want to make 2 points here, and I think they will answer the questions or the misgiving of sorts that was being pointed out by my colleague from Congress. And I feel when these facts are brought to surface, he will do the fact that he asked this question, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, let me tell you, it is not the Government of India, but the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner of India, who actually under the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, actually conduct this. And this has it's been happening since 1948, so it actually predates, this Act of Parliament predates the Constitution, you know, so to speak. So Census of India Act predates the Constitution of India, so it does not bind the Union government whatsoever. So it's an independent body which is there. It has nothing to do with the government of the day. So best practices and all need not be offered as an idea by anybody. But a more important point, and that will make your viewers understand this a little better, and this is purely factual. I want to tell everybody that in 2010, the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji did try, and he did assure the Lok Sabha, and I will present you the evidence. I will dig that out and show it to you, that caste census would be included and would be considered by the cabinet. But many cabinet ministers, and most vocally, it was Chidambaram who actually said that this should not be there and we cannot have a caste census, and that's why it was not done. And the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji, despite his assurance, could not make it happen. And because
Adil, quickly, would you like to respond to this?
This survey.
Lunches don't have to cost a packet. At Aldi, these school dinner winners are just £8 2p. At this price, it's scanner time.
Nothing beats a celebration. And at Tesco Mobile, we're ringing in 30 years of Club Card with deals like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, with 25 gigs of data for just $43.99 a month with Club Card prices, saving you £270. Better yet, that price is frozen for the duration of your contract. And you can even bag a £30 Tesco gift card too. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharp's this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
Armed in? Okay, now, you can have a great first day. I promise, all right? Give me that.
Your donations helped 3D print his heart to guide his surgery. And saved his life with a groundbreaking innovation. And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. Help us turn science fiction into reality and save more lives like hers. Donate to the British Heart Foundation now.
Now I'm retired, I can spend more time with my grandson. I'm proud of him and want to help any way I can. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
Well, that's good to know.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money can help with my funeral costs or even be used as a gift. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Thanks, Mum, for everything.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Not a closed process, open process, by asking the stakeholders what are the type of questions. And it's been a very detailed, very granular exercise. We would like the national census to follow some of the ideas of the Telangana census, and we are more than happy to help the government develop the national census on similar lines. We've had two other issues that we have discussed which are also central, which is the 50% cap on reservations. Now this is becoming an impediment. This is becoming an impediment to development, to progress of our country, and to the progress of backward castes, Dalits and Adivasis. And we want this 50% barrier to be eliminated and broken. We have stated that. We have put enough pressure on the government to get the caste census done. We want a date by when it's done. We are going to put pressure on the government to make sure that 50% cap is destroyed. And after that, there is a third thing, which is the Article 15(5), which is reservation in private educational institutions. It is already a law. We want that law to be implemented as soon as possible. So that is broadly the structure. We see the caste census as a new paradigm of development. And we want to go beyond the caste census. We want to understand what is the participation of 90% of our population in the power structure of our country. Where are they participating effectively and where are they not participating? And we want to give them participation and access to power. So we are absolutely convinced in the Congress party that The caste census is a first step of a completely new development paradigm in the country, and we are going to push this paradigm through one way or the other. It doesn't matter what the BJP thinks. We have shown that we can pressure the BJP into doing the caste census. We are going to show you that we're going to pressure the BJP into doing 15/5 and also removing the 50% cap. I think every Congress member, every Congress worker, every single person who has fought for the caste census, and there are millions of people, activists from the backward communities, Dalits, Adivasis, I'm very proud of what you have done. This would not be possible without the effort, without the hard work that you have done. It has been a sustained campaign that we have run, and I'm very proud of every single person who has helped us in this campaign. Thank you.
So you said that the government was opposed to this and suddenly decided to take this step. Do you think that this decision has been taken in light of the upcoming Bihar polls?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's why this decision has been taken in a hurry. I don't need to comment on whether they took it, when they took it, how they took it. Now they have taken it. We are happy they've taken it. Now this needs to be taken forward.
सर प्रधानमंत्री बार बार ये कहते थे कि ये 4 जातियां होती हैं सिर्फ देश में. अब अचानक से फैसला हुआ तो क्या लगता है कि आप
Well, Congress leader and leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, they're addressing a very important press conference saying that caste census, the important announcement that's been made by the Modi government today, changes the politics of this country, and it's an important move in the political realm of this country. But he, of course, is taking credit for this idea and also saying that a lot needs to be done, including the law that needs to be brought in. Well, that's what was said by Rahul Gandhi today. But good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV, and this is the 7:30 p.m. news break. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a very important high-level cabinet meeting on political affairs in the wake of the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam. And this meeting happened today. The Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs, CCPA, also met today. In fact, it's being called the Super Cabinet, and it was underway in the morning. And it's also expected to huddle over the next possible measures to be taken. With that, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Hello, Moto.
Packed lunches don't have to cost a packet. At Aldi, these school dinner winners are just £8 2p. At this price, it's scanner time.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharps this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
For Monu, every step is agony. But he's forced to carry heavy loads and bricks up narrow, steep flights of stairs, hour after hour, day after day. Life can be cruel and short for hard-working donkeys like Monu. With little food, water, or rest, they must keep going no matter what. Crude harnesses cut into their flesh. Horrific wounds and injuries go untreated. And when they've given all they can, many will simply be abandoned. You could help us treat more sick and injured donkeys. We won't stop until each one has a good life. But we can't do it without you. So please call 0800 035 9305 or text STEP6 to 78866 and give £2 a month. Your help will be the first step towards a better life for brave donkeys like Monu.
With Virgin Media, get smooth, lightning-fast M125 broadband for under £26 a month and no setup fee. Switching is simple. You do nothing, and we'll handle everything for you. Virgin Media. See what you can do.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Your brain really matters.
Packed lunches don't have to cost a packet. At Aldi, these school dinner winners are just £8 2p. At this price, it's scanner time.
This baby bear is terrified. Torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0455 or text CUB3 to 78866 and give £2 a month to help rescue them. Every month, your £2 could help us free more bears, help give bears the veterinary care they need, and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Call 0800 038 0455 or text CUB3 to 78866 and give £2 a month and help Four Paws free bears from agonizing torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
Persisted with its generosity in other areas. For example, the Indus Waters Treaty only demands that India provide information on quote-unquote extraordinary discharges and flood flows. But India has been providing hydrological data to Pakistan during the flood season. There's an agreement that is renewed periodically on sharing hydrological data during the flood season. But that is extraneous to the Indus Waters Treaty. The treaty, as I said, only requires India to provide information on extraordinary discharges and flood flows. So the time has come for India to discard this unilateral generosity and leverage this treaty to reform Pakistan's behavior.
Right. Mr. Bajaj, it's been a week since the IWT was put on hold, and people have, experts like you have also talked about this. Many have said that any significant reduction of flow of water to Pakistan will take at least a few years. We've seen that India's hydel power projects on the western rivers have been compliant with the treaty, as no diversion or storage of water takes place, and it's going to take some time for us to build that kind of storage capacities. How do you see what has happened in the last few days, and also Pakistan's reaction to all of this?
Pakistan is naturally very aggressively opposing whatever steps India is taking. So because it's their lifeline, and almost 80 to 85% of the agriculture in Pakistan is happening with the water of this Indus rivers that is going to Pakistan. So even on the eastern rivers, which are allocated all to India, a lot of water continued to flow after signing of the treaty till even maybe up to 2000 or slightly more. And it was only gradually that we were able to build our infrastructure projects like storage dams and diversions and canals, so that the eastern rivers water could be utilized fully by India. Today we are in a position to say that not even a single drop of water from the eastern rivers is going to Pakistan, and only during extreme floods some water will go eventually at some point of time. So in a similar way, if we want to stop water from the western rivers going to Pakistan, so we'll need to build the infrastructure there. And it is not just storage dam that will be required to stop water going down, but we will also need to divert that water from the western rivers area, because there is not much consumptive use there in that area.
Right.
And all the usage is in the eastern rivers region, like Pakistan and like Punjab, Haryana, and onwards to Rajasthan.
Right.
So all this building infrastructure will take time, and maybe even if we go at a fast pace, maybe 5-6 years at least,
Yes.
minimum.
Mr. Chilane, today is going to be the second important meeting of the IWT, what needs to be done to ensure that the suspension of IWT remains in force. In fact, Jal Shakti Minister C.R. Patil is likely to meet Home Minister Amit Shah around 8 o'clock is what we understand. The government has already indicated immediate plans for the long term. They've talked about desilting rivers, diversion of water, building of local capacities, storage capacities. What do you think the government should be thinking about right now to ensure that it achieves what it set out to do?
Let's be clear that India's adversary is the Pakistani deep state, not the Pakistani people. India's intention is not to create a water crisis in Pakistan. It's not to divert water flows. It is to reform the behavior of the Pakistani military establishment that runs the show in Pakistan. So India has made clear that it will act responsibly. It will not seek to create a humanitarian crisis in Pakistan. In any case, India doesn't have the hydrological infrastructure, as Mr. Bajaj was pointing out. It lacks the hydrological infrastructure to divert river flows. Now, if you take the three big rivers that are reserved for Pakistan's exclusive use, the Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus, Pakistan gets 168 million, million acre feet of water every year. And India has been allowed under the Indus Waters Treaty to build storage of 3.6 million acre feet. But do you know that so far India's storage capacity on these three large rivers is only 0.3?
Right.
A fraction of what Pakistan gets from these three rivers. Now, to build any kind of diversion infrastructure will require investments of tens of billions of dollars. It will take 20 years, 30 years, and given the fact that in India, infrastructure projects never are completed on schedule.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a long time frame, and I think this there's a misleading debate in India that India will use this Indus Waters Treaty, keeping it in abeyance as a tool to disrupt water flows to Pakistan. That's not India's intent.
Okay. So the intent is larger here, and clearly that is what the government will also be probably thinking about. The second important meeting on the Indus Water Treaty is all set to take place today. In fact, Jal Shakti Minister C.R. Patil is all set to meet Home Minister Amit Shah in a few minutes from now. We'll get you all those details and more. But moving on to the other important story now, the replica of Puri Jagannath Temple, built at a cost of Rs 250 crore in Bengal's Digha town, was consecrated today, and that's become a flashpoint between the BJP and TMC. This is a temple that marks Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, and also the TMC chief. It marks her outreach to the Hindu community. Remember, this comes very close to what we saw in Murshidabad, lives being lost and horrible Hindu-Muslim violence that took place there. The TMC has been blamed of Muslim appeasement by the BJP, something that the TMC has been completely denying. The inauguration of this Jagannath Dham temple took place yesterday and today. The auspicious occasion of Akshaya Tritiya is just there, and today was chosen for the auspicious Pran Pratishtha of the temple. In fact, this is being seen as the TMC's Ayodhya moment. In fact, Mamata Banerjee's government, in a reprisal of BJP's Ayodhya temple inauguration, had set up huge screens today across the state to live telecast the ceremony. It started at 2 p.m. Today afternoon, and BJP in fact has been targeting Mamata Banerjee by calling her a fake Hindu, saying that government funds cannot be used to construct temples. BJP is also questioning the TMC government's failure to handle Murshidabad riots. In fact, let's listen into first some reactions to the story before we get in our guests.
आप देख लीजिए पेपर्स, ये हिटको है जिनका चेयरमैन फिराद हकीम है। ये हिटको का प्रोजेक्ट है, इसमें लिखा हुआ है श्री जगन्नाथ धाम कल्चरल सेंटर, नॉट टेम्पल। मीडिया आप सरकार की लाइसेंस लेकर काम कर रहा है, गलत भ्रम पैदा मत कीजिए। इट्स ए कल्चरल सेंटर, नॉट टेम्पल। और हिंदू का मंदिर कभी सरकारी रुपया में नहीं होता है, वो राम मंदिर जैसे अयोध्या में बनाना हिंदू लोग का निधि से होता है।
Well, we have Mamita Chakrabarti, who supports the BJP. She's a political analyst. We have Shikha Mukherjee, also a political analyst, joining us now. Thank you, both of you, for joining me on this broadcast. Shikha Mukherjee, ma'am, to you first. How do you see this move by Mamata Banerjee? It's not new, that she's talked of herself as a Hindu, as somebody who's inclusive, because we've seen her reciting the Chandi part. But the BJP accusing her of Muslim appeasement and saying that this is not going to cancel out Murshidabad. How do you see this, and also this outreach, this symbolism coming just before 2026 assembly polls?
I think there are three things here which you've asked. One is Mamta's Muslim appeasement. I don't see how this is linked to Muslim appeasement at all. This is Hindu vote consolidation. I think the term that we are using to describe it is wrong. I mean, BJP's concern is not Mamta's Muslim appeasement. BJP's concern in this case is very much about Hindu vote consolidation. How will the Pran Pratishtha, because the construction of this temple was known for many years, how will this Pran Pratishtha and Mamta's association with that Pran Pratishtha process affect the Hindu vote? And that is exactly what the BJP's concern is all about. And the second thing is that I don't really see the connect between Digha's temple and Murshidabad. Murshidabad was a communal riot. There is no doubt about it that people lost lives. 3 people lost lives. 2 were Hindus, 1 was a Muslim. The situation is now under control. It is very difficult when a communal riot breaks out of this nature for things to normalize in a flash. They will take time. And there is a constant rhetoric which is involved, which is not allowing this normalcy to be restored. That also has to be kept in mind. And the third, and I think the final point that one needs to make is that here is a temple which is obviously being inaugurated as a precedent has already been set. And there is temple and politics, right. Temple and elections. There is a precedent. And therefore, it is very sad. Constitutionally, this move is dubious because the government has no business to construct a temple.
Okay, let me get in.
No, but let me finish. Please let me finish the sentence. Constitutionally dubious, but politically there is a precedent.
Okay.
Therefore, what are we supposed to make of it as journalists in India? There has been the Ayodhya Pran Pratishtha. There is now the Jagannath Puri Pran Pratishtha in Digha.
Okay, so there's a precedent, which is an important point. Mamita, you heard Shikha also, she's making this important point. There's a precedent already in place. Why does the BJP have a problem with Mamata Banerjee? Because, she has often called herself a Hindu. She has donated huge funds during Durga Puja committees. So clearly she has been associated with that, temple renovation project. So why call her a fake Hindu?
So first, I would like to say that good to hear that what my co-panelist ma'am mentioned, that since BJP is actually going for the Hindu thing and TMC is also doing the same, she has clearly mentioned, right, that the BJP is doing the same thing. So good to see that TMC at least following the BJP path or way. And now coming to the thing that the so-called secularism about Mamata Banerjee, I'm telling you one thing. Just couple of days back, we got to see that violence took place in Murshidabad, which is now named as the communal violence, and all the blames are on BJP. But Mamata Banerjee was doing the sabha and the meeting with the imams, but we could not see her attending, and we could not see her visiting the victim's family at all. But at this point of time, this is the right time to inaugurate or open that Jagannath temple. For me, and I think for all the people who are very much connected with the Hinduism and the Dharma, then quite a shameless act it is, I mean, at this point of time. And if we just call her as the fake secular or so, on that note, I would like to mention a few points. See, she has always opposed what to say, like she is doing this, the vote bank appeasement politics, we know that. But one thing, can you just tell me, I mean, I would like to ask this question to ma'am. We always see that Firhad Hakim with Mamata Banerjee, right? But now where is he? Why we cannot see Firhad Hakim or Bobby Hakim at that place with Mamata Banerjee? And she always tried to be very diplomatic, and this Jagannath temple is the clear game of the political damage control act. She's trying to balance between the blunder she has made before. Okay. She also always, what she did is, like, she says that no immersion of Durga Puja. She Muharram ko pehle, what to say, like, she gives the opportunity. But when she does the carnival with the tax-paying money of the West Bengal residents, you tell me one thing, where is the development? Development ka kuch hum dekhte nahi hai, but she has been using all the money to do all these things, and this Jagannath temple as well. Why this before the election? Okay. Because she knows it very well. If she, just give me 10 seconds, please, I will finish it. Right. So she knows it very well. At Purba Mednipur, she has actually lost the election. I mean, 2021 May, Shubhendu Adhikari won that part. So, right. And also in the last year, the Lok Sabha, maybe there was 2 seats, the Kathi and Tamluk was for BJP. So she's trying to gravitate the attention of that part of the people. Okay. So she's playing with the Hindu heart and emotion, because I'm telling
that's an
you one
important
thing,
point, Shikha Mukherjee, because she lost in Nandigram, which is also closer to Digha, and we've always seen that whenever Mamata Banerjee loses elections, she does take a lot of interest. We saw that in North Bengal also. How do you see this criticism that this is just a balancing act to cancel out the kind of sharp attacks on her, calling her a fake Hindu? How do you see this criticism that this is just a balancing act and nothing more?
Valid balancing act. I think it's a perfectly valid balancing act. I mean, if a political party indulges in the kind of criticism of calling someone a fake Hindu, and who are they to define who is a fake Hindu or not? Am I a fake Hindu? Are you a fake Hindu? Who knows who's a fake Hindu? Who is the BJP to decide that someone is a fake or not a fake? Okay. And therefore, this is politics. Let the politics play out. The people will decide. That's what election is for. If this is a balancing act, just 5 seconds, I would just like to ask you another question on that. If that's a balancing act, then why we cannot, why she cannot do the balance between that minority community and the Hindu thing? Because the particular community, the Hindu community is not considered as the specific vote bank for any particular political party. That's why she is not serious about Hindus. She has always taken the Hindu community as granted.
Okay, that so fierce arguments on both sides there. Thank you both of you for joining me on this broadcast. Completely out of time. The TMC is saying that this is all faith-based and cultural, and the BJP is saying that this is nothing but just a balancing act, and this is just pomp and show. That's about the temple that has become the latest political flashpoint between the BJP and TMC in West Bengal. With that, it's a wrap on the show. More news and updates on the outside.
In People's Postcode Lottery's May draws, you could win a share of £15.6 million. For the chance to win, sign up before midnight tonight.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money...
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen.
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
Yes, we did.
Professional monitoring?
Activated. This summer, leave your worries behind. Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Systems start from under £200 with the professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharps this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
लेकिन केवल पंडित नेहरू जी का रवैया ऐसा नहीं था। स्वर्गीय इंदिरा जी ने क्या किया? मंडल कमीशन की रिपोर्ट आई तब कांग्रेस का रुख क्या था? कांग्रेस ने हमेशा जातिगत गणना का, जनगणना का विरोध किया। मित्रों, आपको याद होगा 1980 के दशक में जब मंडल कमीशन आया तब इंदिरा जी ने विरोध किया था। बीपी मंडल की जातिगत जनगणना की मांग को तत्कालीन गृहमंत्री ज्ञानी जैल सिंह जी ने खारिज किया था। राहुल जी, मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं, स्वर्गीय राजीव जी का रुख क्या था? तब जातिगत जनगणना क्यों नहीं की गई? सोनिया जी आई फिर पावर में, वे सुपर पीएम थी। दिवंगत पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री श्रीमान मनमोहन सिंह जी, उनकी सरकार आई और तब उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट में आश्वस्त किया था कि वो जातिगत जनगणना पर कैबिनेट में विचार करेंगे। मंत्रिमंडल का एक समूह बना, ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स, तब भी जातिगत जनगणना नहीं हुई। एक सर्वे पर हुआ, सर्वे जिसे एसईसीसी के नाम से जाना जाता है। क्यों श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी ने, क्यों स्वर्गीय मनमोहन जी ने जातिगत जनगणना नहीं करवाई? और एसईसीसी के जो आंकड़े थे उस समय, सर्वे के, उसमें भी हजारों त्रुटियां थी, वो लगभग अग्राह्य कर दिया गया। तब कांग्रेस कहां थी? झूठ बोलना और भ्रम फैलाना ये कांग्रेस के डीएनए में है। 1971 में नारा दिया गया गरीबी हटाओ। गरीबी नहीं हटी, गरीब ही हट गए। कर्जा माफ, बिजली बिल माफ, बेरोजगारी भत्ता देंगे। कितने झूठ बोले। जब सत्ता में हैं तब नहीं कराएंगे, जब विपक्ष में आएंगे तो मांग करेंगे। राहुल जी, हाथी के दांत खाने के और दिखाने के और। आज श्रेय के लिए आप उछल कूद कर रहे हो। पहले जवाब देना होगा कांग्रेस ने क्यों नहीं की जातिगत जनगणना।
It's an evening of press conferences. First it was Rahul Gandhi who addressed the press conference, and now it is top union minister and senior BJP leader Shivraj Singh Chauhan addressing the press conference. Let's tell you what happened today. It appears that BJP has taken a sting out of the biggest opposition plank, that's caste census, a decision which will have huge socio-political implications. The Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs has approved caste enumeration in the forthcoming population census. Taking a dig at the Congress, Ashwini Vaishnav, who addressed the press after the Cabinet, said that Congress and its India alliance partners have used caste census time and again as a political tool, and added that the previous UPA governments failed to conduct a caste census but held surveys. Remember that every census in independent India from 1951 to 2011 has published data on scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, but not on other castes. Before that, every census until 1931 had data on caste. Soon, BJP leaders, government ministers, allies of the central government congratulated Prime Minister Modi for his political will. Rahul Gandhi, who also addressed the press, said that it was their decision that has been adopted by the government, and he is glad about it. Listen in.
Caste census, we have been fighting now for some time. Government has opposed. For some reason, we don't understand what that reason is. They have suddenly decided to do it. We welcome that. We are happy that they have done the caste census. We have put enough pressure on the government to get the caste census done. We want a date by when it's done. We are going to put pressure on the government to make sure that 50% cap is destroyed.
Rahul also demanded that a timeline must be adopted, and also suggested that the government can learn some points from the Telangana caste survey. Let's also listen in to what Ashwini Vaishnav had said while making that announcement for the caste census.
Well understood that Congress and its India alliance partners have used caste census only as a political tool to ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics. Caste enumeration should be transparently included. I'm emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys. This will strengthen the social and economic structure of our society while the nation continues to progress. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census.
But now in the battle over caste, is the caste census just about empowering the invisible, or is it a political battle setting the tone for poll battles which will be taking place now onwards in the east and south of India? Or is it BJP's latest Brahmastra? Joining me on the show is Aishwarya, who was tracking the cabinet meeting. We have Uma to give us the details of the Telangana caste census, and Prabhakar Kumar is joining from Patna. That's where the first test of this announcement will be. Coming to you, Prabhakar, first, we heard from Tejasvi. We have also seen the reaction which came in from Nitish Kumar. Tejasvi says that the caste survey which happened in Bihar a few years ago, in 2017 to be specific, was because he was in power along with Nitish. Do you think people on the ground will believe and give him that benefit of doubt that, you know, as far as social engineering is concerned, they have an upper hand over Nitish Kumar?
See, this fight over the narrative as to who gets the credit for it will continue, especially in Bihar. It will continue because Bihar is the first state which will go to polls after this announcement. A very important announcement has been made. And remember, Tejasvi Yadav, the RJD, they have been trying to corner the NDA government over this caste census. They have been pressing upon the government to include it in the 9th Amendment, and actually when the reservation ceiling was struck down by the High Court, then also there was a lot of hue and cry over this, especially by the Congress and RJD. Now, after this announcement, what BJP has done, they have diffused the biggest weapon which the opposition had here in Bihar, and which they were intending to use in the coming elections. It would have actually been one of the major issues on which the RJD and Congress would have tried to corner the NDA, the JDU and the BJP as well. Now, after this announcement, how would they actually set the other narrative, whether they try to take the credit for what the BJP has done for this announcement, and they would certainly try to make a point to the voters that it's because of their pressure, as we just heard Rahul Gandhi making the similar point, that's because of their pressure that the BJP was forced to make this announcement, and they would try to get some credit out of it. But certainly, Bihar would be the first testing ground where this announcement's impact would be tested in just a few months from now.
Okay. Bihar will be the first testing ground. In fact, Shambhavi Chaudhary, Member of Parliament of the LJP, will be joining me any moment as well. But before that, a quick word from Uma Sudhir on the big takeaways of the census which happened in Telangana, which Rahul Gandhi says that the centre can learn from.
Maria, Telangana conducted the first socio-economic, political, economic and also employment and caste census. It's not called a census because census is something that is in the purview of the union government, and therefore this is called a survey. And Revanth Reddy's post on X is an indicator of what the Congress is trying to do here, because Revanth Reddy says that Rahul Gandhi's vision has turned into government policy. And he is saying that despite being in the opposition, Rahul Gandhi has managed to convert his vision into government policy. Second part, he is thanking Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he is also taking credit, saying that the OBC reservation that has been increased to 42%, that's the Assembly of Telangana passing that resolution after declaring, according to the new figures, that the OBC population in Telangana is about 56%. Revanth Reddy had enhanced it to 42%, the reservation for the OBCs, and therefore he's saying the rest of the country is now inspired by what Telangana has done. And the takeaway line is what Telangana does today, India is doing tomorrow, and that's where the Congress obviously is going to try and corner the credit for it, saying that we were the role models, we are the people who are leading the way. Of course, Congress in every election meeting and otherwise, Rahul Gandhi has been speaking about caste census. So while the credit war will continue, the BJP, the NDA certainly has stolen the thunder from the Congress, because they have now implemented what they would put out to the public domain. They're already speaking about the fact that the Congress in the past has not favored a caste survey, and they say they are the ones who are actually implementing it. Back to you.
Absolutely, Uma. The fact is that it's about walking the talk, and the political will has been displayed by this government. I'm going to come to Ash in just a bit, because Shambhavi Chaudhary, Member of Parliament of the LJP, is joining me from her constituency. Shambhavi, what is the mood on ground? This is a battle of narrative. This will be a battle of, credit taking. What is the mood on ground among your constituents? Do you think the NDA and the BJP will have an advantage in Bihar?
Of course, I think the NDA and the BJP will have an advantage, and I think the public in general is very enthusiastic. They're very excited, because I think this is one demand that has been going on in the country for a very long time. And needless to say, Bihar has paved the way for the entire country. Caste census was rightly done under the leadership of our Chief Minister, Mr. Nitish Kumar. And our party's National President, Shri Chirag Paswan ji, has also continuously advocated for a caste census, despite any obstacle that came the way. So there's a lot of enthusiasm and there's a lot of excitement, and we're just hoping that this is a historic decision and it will, contribute significantly in our the dream of Viksit Bharat, the sankalp of Viksit Bharat that we have. This decision will contribute to it significantly.
Yes, Shambhavi, the fact is that Bihar had a caste survey in 2017. At that time, it was a Mahagathbandhan government with Nitish Kumar as the chief minister. Today, Tejasvi Yadav says that they have shown the way to the center, that it was under their pressure that along with standing demand of the RJD and the India bloc, including Rahul Gandhi and others, have been implemented. So you should be ready to share the credit for this decision.
I think it's very petty of anybody to try to take credit of something that is so large and something that's going to impact so many people. It's a decision for the country, and all the credit goes to our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, because I think it takes courage to take such decisions, and he has that courage. Tejasvi Yadav, I'm sure, does a lot of he's trying to, project it as if it was his decision, but key NDA allies like Janata Dal United and Lok Jan Shakti Party have also continuously advocated for it. So it will be, I think it will be very unfair and limited to say that this was an opposition demand. This was the country's demand, and all representatives of the people have continuously requested our Prime Minister to include the caste census in the population census.
Okay, the larger question, since you are one of the youngest MPs in this Lok Sabha, Shambhavi, one view is, and Rahul Gandhi also spoke about it, was that this will perhaps set the stage for what will happen next in the private sector.
I think it's a long way ahead, and we should go step by step, and we'll see how this pans out. Once the caste census is done, definitely we'll have a better understanding of the demography. As representatives of the people, we'll have better understanding of the people, and it will enable us to design better policies that cater to the needs of the people, that caters to the population. So definitely a lot is going to change, but we are very optimistic that it's going to change for the better.
So are you of the opinion, and as an ally of the BJP at the center, that this is a historic moment, a landmark moment for India, because a step has been taken towards social justice and inclusive growth?
Definitely, it's a big step towards social justice, towards inclusive growth, and to ensure there is equality and the ideals that we stand for, that is achieved.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see how it plays out in our home state. Shambhavi, 6 months to go for Bihar elections. Joining me on the show tonight, Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP, Bhavya representing the Congress, Amitabh Tiwari is political strategist. We have Professor Badri Narayan, political analyst, and Dr. Suraj is an author of Caste Matters. I'm going to begin with the analysts first, and perhaps Dr. Suraj Yengre will be able to put this in context better. What does today mean for the larger socio-political context of India?
Maria, this is not really a serious move as far as I can see if you look at the history. The timing of this is very peculiar, right? I mean, there's election, but also there's an attack, the government's inefficiency in what happened in Belgaum. You have to pay attention to what was there, that accountability that was going to corner the government about its own efficiency. And if you look at the history from 1931 onwards, this was essentially the communal award that was then signed between Gandhi and Dr. Ambedkar in 1932 that led to India, Government of India Act and so forth. We know the history. Now, from 1951 onwards, the government has been collecting some sort of data, especially it authorized the states to collect the data. What we essentially miss in this is the data of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes has been there. It's not absent. This is about the backward classes and other caste groups who have not enumerated. So that was the main kind of contention for the Mandal Commission. We don't have the data, and that was kind of an effort that was taken in this direction. Now, I don't have much hopes from this government that is seriously, liar and a peddler of fake news. And again, this may be one of their another jumlas, because they have not given the date when they will do it. They don't have any program. What happened with SECC, Socioeconomic Caste Census, that was done in 2011, was it was mired by a lot of inefficiency, and the government just desponded. The Ministry of Rural Affairs conducted that, and the Registrar General and other statistical bodies didn't even endorse it. So if this happens, I mean, what are the assurances that despite having this kind of political gimmick and then the googly that has been played into this football field, where do we really go? And the other point we need to pay attention to is, and I think this is important, is the fate of censuses that's been happening since 1872, but 1881 onwards, was to really try to improvise, because it's not a fixated caste location. The caste that Prime Minister Modi belonged to, Mod Ghanchi, was not OBC until he became a CM and made it an OBC. So you see, it's an evolving list. And so looking at this from the perspective of Bihar and the state elections, we have to understand that the 1931 census paved a path for a strong anti-caste lobby seen through Independent Labour Party of Dr. Ambedkar 1937 elections that really gave good results, where he could really figure out what caste groups are in which constituency, and that could really bring about good results. 1951 onwards doesn't happen. 2011 they do it a separate chart, which is separate from the caste census. That was a demand, and this is probably Congress and BJP playing along the same line, because they don't want the Savarnas, the historically oppressor communities, to see that they are the major player and stakeholders. And that's why I think Rahul Gandhi's demand here also is, I mean, it's laughable that his own party had disowned, and now they are trying to come around this to bring reservation not just in government but also private sector, which is a welcoming move. But I suspect, Maria, for now, to comment and celebrate anything, because the progress report of this government has done nothing to empower the other backward classes and the people victimized by caste.
Okay, Professor Badri Narayan, in the absence of a timeline, is celebration too soon?
Yeah, I think, Maria, this timeline of this announcement, or rather you can call timing of this announcement, has a major political meaning. It's a Bihar and also Tamil Nadu elections is going to be there. And you know, these are the very OBC dominated states. This kind of the stand which government took is going to affect the electoral politics in two ways. One is, as I used to say, that Yuga Nupul, BJP is a Yuga Nupul party, or the way they adopt and they adapt the situation and form and frame the policies. So to counter you know, it was the entire politics of creating a kind of polarization based on caste. What BJP is going to do with this kind of announcement, that yes, caste identity is there, that will prevail, but with that there are developmental issues, there are other kinds of issues will come together. So they have created a broader platform, and in that, this unaddressed issues of the caste census they have addressed. And you know, Congress, which was usually a party of meritocracy, now turned towards the Samajwadi. You know, in Bihar election, the three or four social justice model are going to contest with each other. One is Congressy Nehruite model, which was based on meritocracy, turned towards the socialist model based on the caste identity, and Bahujanwadi model, and the Samagra Samajik Nyaya model, which BJP is trying to evolve. In that, they are saying, look, vertical, the Samajik Nyaya format is there, but also horizontal. So they are using and bringing together various kinds of social justice postulates together and frame a policy. So it's a bigger politics and policy of framing Samagra Samajik Nyaya holistic social justice model with caste identity, adding with other things also. So that way, the Bihar election is going to be a contest of this whole social justice model.
Okay, let me get a word from Aishwarya, who was tracking this press conference which was held. Aishwarya, there was a lot of anticipation as to what will be the big announcement, and this government certainly has made a big announcement, but it has taken all of us by surprise.
Well, certainly, and it was a jam-packed auditorium at the National Media Center where Ashnavi Vaishnav had made that statement of what the decision had come out of CCPA. It was, all speculations that and all eyes were glued to that press conference as a lot of journalists were waiting because it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who chaired 4 crucial meetings in the morning, and soon after that there was a briefing. But of course, it has taken a bit of surprise, sent shockwaves to the opposition parties as well, and it is, of course, both the NDA or the opposition taking credit. Already the political war of words had begun. And remember, Ashnavi Vaishnav, while reading out that statement of what decision has been taken of the CCPA, the first statement was that it is the Congress who had opposed the caste-based census, and it is now the opposition parties who have been saying that it is Rahul Gandhi who went to different places in the country while campaigning and at time and again asked the government to conduct a caste-based survey, and that's what they demanded. And although Rahul Gandhi welcomed it as well, the battle war will continue of the credit that be it the NDA or the opposition, but how it will pan down to the ground in the election-bound states, it's something that will be very interesting to see.
Absolutely, Aishwarya. Thank you so much. Sachin Pilot, senior Congress leader, is joining me now. Mr. Pilot, the government says that the Congress governments have always opposed caste census and that caste was not included in all the census operations conducted since independence. And they are also saying that in 2010, the then Prime Minister, late Dr. Manmohan Singh, had assured the Lok Sabha that the matter of caste census would be considered in the cabinet, which was not done. So when it is about political will, it is Prime Minister Modi who has displayed it rather than you, who had the option of executing it, but you did not.
I am absolutely amazed how one can try and spin the story at this hour. For months and months and months, Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the entire Congress party, at all our working committee resolutions, all our conventions, we have been shouting from the rooftops that we want a caste census. Now, a lot of people in the media thought this is breaking up the country, this is not required to be done, and the BJP, no less, the government of India, had on multiple occasions said not to be done, this is not required. In fact, every minister in the government of India went and shouted that we don't want the caste census. Now, after the pressure mounted, and Mr. Gandhi in Parliament and outside made an issue of it, the government today relented and announced it will do a caste census. I think it's not about the credit. This is the beginning of what we feel is the right way forward. This is going to open the door for us to understand exactly where people are living in, under what conditions. Unless you have the data, scientifically attained data, you can't act on it. The question about credit and political advantage is not important for us. What's more important is that we've been able to force the hand of the government, which was so reluctant and vehemently opposed to this, finally gave in. And they only give in when the water is above the nose. And that's what happened today. And let's see how this pans out, because the quality of the data and actions henceforth will be far more important than the mere announcement this afternoon.
Again, what the government is saying, yes, it may not be about credit war, but because this is the government which has taken the call, it is saying that it has stolen a march. The point being made here, Mr. Pilot, is that the Congress government decided to conduct only a survey instead of caste census, and the survey is known as SECC. Do you think the data that on the basis of which you were distributing the benefits of the benefits of the government was skewed?
So Maria, why are you going back to the Congress government? For the last 11 years, there's been a BJP government, and as recent as yesterday, the BJP government of India were opposed to it, and publicly so. They were not hiding the fact that they were against the caste census, but obviously the political pressure, the kind of grassroots support that we got for this issue, they understood and they read the writing on the wall and have announced it today. All I'm saying is that I'm glad they did, though belatedly. Moving forward, what is far more important is that they don't do a shoddy job or just on the tip of the surface. Because in Telangana, for example, what we've done is a very detailed analysis of how people are living, what conditions they're living, their per capita income, their education, their standards of life, etc. Those are very, very important questions. I don't want to go into which government did what. For the last years, we have been asking singularly, the topmost agenda for Mr. Gandhi and the party was, let's get an actual holistic exercise done using scientific means to get tangible data for us to make policy interventions when we require them to do so. So today, after a lot, and this is the surprising part of the government. I'm sure even the topmost ministers in the government had no idea what they were doing it. But I feel that they've read the political landscape, how it's shifting very quickly, and people are understanding why we are saying that we need the caste census. And for whatever reason, they have succumbed to what we've been asking for. They've done it. I appreciate it. I think it's a welcome step, but we'll wait and watch to see how things pan out in the next months to come.
Okay, could you have done it when you were in power? You were also part of the cabinet, part of the Council of Ministers.
Yeah, could we have not done many things 50 years ago? We could have announced bullet train 30 years ago. We could have announced Notebandi, last year. It's all in history, right? But for 11 years, 3 terms, the same government. And the fact you're not appreciating, Myra, is the fact that when we're asking for something, they're brushing it aside. For years, the BJP was making a non-issue of it, and they were actually calling the Congress party names and using adjectives that I can't repeat on the camera, that this is unbecoming, and why should the Congress party, Mr. Gandhi, Mr. Kharge ask for these things? Now suddenly things have changed. No one is asking the government that you've taken a U-turn for the nth time on multiple issues, including lateral entry, including Farmers Bill, including Land Acquisition Act, so many U-turns, including this one. So I think you should be asking the government that solid question as to why you're opposing it publicly, and suddenly you decided to do it. For our sake, I'm happy for the country. I'm happy for our party that our stance is now vindicated. And we hope that this will have very, very positive results coming up.
Last question to you. As someone who interacts with multiple sections of people, are you not sensing that this could also clear the decks for what will be seen as demand for reservation in the private sector coming up next, and that could also lead to pushback from the private sector?
Dekho, that's speculation. I won't go into it. All I'm saying is basically we are a country that is 1.4 billion people. Unless we have actual data. So today there's a lot of claims, counterclaims, there's allocation of budgets and policies ad hoc. We don't know how much budget we're allocating to what scheme, to what programs, and who are the beneficiaries. We have today the Aadhaar card, we have bank accounts, we have digital fingerprints, we have everything. Why should we not know? If we can do a head count for all the tigers and the animals and so on in the country, why can't we know who is living in what condition and what we need to, perhaps sometimes you need to reduce some assistance to people who already had enough and they're more needy people in some sections. So it's basically a scientific way of analyzing the data and our demography so that we can do justice to everybody. It's a very simple task if one has the conviction and the political will to do so.
All right, Sachin Pilot, really appreciate your time here on NDTV. Let's listen in to what Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress chief, had to say on this announcement. He spoke to my colleague, Deepak Bopanna.
Joining me is the AICC President, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. In 2023, 2 years ago, he had written a letter to the centre that there is a need for a caste census. And today, when the announcement has happened from the centre, he's here joining us. So, what do you make of this announcement? Do you welcome it? Tell us at this point in time, what do you feel?
No, it is a good decision. And for this decision, we were waiting since long. And I have written earlier also one letter. And recently, 2 years back, also one letter. And that I have shown you with date and with this letter. Yeah. So, to remind them. So, this is a good decision. Let us see, wait, we welcome it. But simply telling and keeping quiet doesn't work. You have to put the budget, sufficient budget you have not put. Now you have to additional budget you have to take up for this, and whatever expenditure comes, that expenditure, central government should make allocation and do it. Then only it will prove it.
Well, that was the AICC President, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, of course, who's saying that right now the implementation should be done as soon as possible by the centre.
All right, let me bring in Tuhin Sinha now. Tuhin, a quick reaction on all that you've heard from the Congress leaders. Okay, we'll try and connect with Tuhin in just a bit. But yes, come in, Amitabh Tiwari. The question is, Bihar will be the first testing ground. And what immediate impact are you sensing in Bihar?
So clearly, this is a change of stance by the BJP, because the party was non-committal on a caste census. Because it felt that it had already the OBC vote in its full, OBC vote being doubled from 22% to 44% during the 10 years 2009 to 19. The setback in the Lok Sabha elections, and largely if you see, the BJP and NDA have lost vote share amongst the upper and lower OBCs, including in Bihar, where it still won 30 out of 40 seats, and massive support in the UP, where it lost anywhere between 10% to 20% support from the OBCs. So, and with Rahul Gandhi raising this issue, the party has tried to, let's say, snatch the main pole plank of the Congress party, because this is not just Bihar or UP. Now, what will you do with the caste census numbers? Congress has clearly said that they would raise the ceiling from 50% to, let's say, 60-65%, anywhere in between that. But the BJP has not yet announced it. It will have to eventually, because what will you do with these numbers? So the main plank of the BJP, or I would say it has found the main plank of a 2029 Lok Sabha elections, where social justice could be its key point going into the Lok Sabha elections, with a caste census done, and also perhaps with a raise in the ceiling of reservations. You were talking about the private reservations. First, it has to increase the reservation cap in the government sector.
That's right.
Then only the private sector will come. Correct. So all these things, I think, largely political. Of course, social justice is part of it, and the BJP has received quite a lot of OBC support, and it wants to consolidate that support for it.
Tuhin Sinha, in the absence of a timeline, is this mere symbolism?
Good evening, Maria. Point number one, we had never, spoken against caste reservation. As recently as September 2024, when Amit Shahji was categorically asked whether, the caste census would be included in the new census, he said a decision will be taken soon. So number one, this entire theory, we don't act in haste. We don't like to hoodwink the country like Rahul Gandhi has been doing on the issue of caste census. They could not make the caste census public in 2011 because 8.19 crore errors were detected, out of which 1.5 crores had no solution. So we needed time to be sure that we are in a position to carry out a flawless and impeccable caste census, which will not be used for vested political gains. And we are, we are now prepared for that. So the moment census is announced, it's very much a census is due. So, it would take place very soon. Number two, according to Article 246 of the Constitution, census is solely under the central list. By carrying out these phony caste surveys, which various Congress governments have undertaken, they are creating confusion, they are manipulating records, and they are trying to put reservation in the wrong hands, particularly in the hands of one community, which is in contravention of the norms to be followed. Number three, we will strictly conform to the triple test doctrine laid out by the Supreme Court on the issue of reservation. Unlike Rahul Gandhi, who has been, clamoring for extension of 50%, we will strictly stick to the constitutional norms on reservation, once the caste census is done. So these are very critical differences between us and the Congress party. And I don't think, Rahul Gandhi's idea has anything to do with what we have been planning for a very long time.
Okay, but the larger question is that in case if it was an idea, because there are 3 states where caste survey was done. Bihar, which was done only in 2017 when MGB was in power, Mahagathbandhan was in power, and Nitish Kumar was the face of that government. It has been implemented in Telangana, and it has been implemented in Karnataka.
So that's what I said, Maria. It was very important to put an end to these hasty political gimmicks, disguised as disguised as caste surveys, because essentially a census needs to be undertaken by the central government. It's a central subject, and it would put an end to the politicking on. Our problem is, with the kind of intentions which the Congress party had with caste census. You would recall, the statements of Rahul Gandhi that the only reason Agniveer has been introduced is to divide the army so that Agniveers are people belonging to backward caste. We had a problem with this divisive mentality. We never had a problem with caste census for developmental purposes, and this was specified even by RSS last year in very categoric words.
Okay, come in now, Bhavya.
The very fact that the way they are spinning the whole narrative around, I would like to remind Tuhin Sinha, the BJP has always been anti-reservation and anti-caste census. In fact, BJP, RSS and ABVP had opposed reservation in 1970s in Bihar and Gujarat government. In fact, your RSS Sarsang Chalak, Golwalkar, called it breeds jealousy and conflict. These were his words against this reservation. He even said SC/STs, the reservation will make them slaves with the lure of money. These are his words. And now you're saying you were always for caste census and you were never against it? Come on, just recently in Karnataka, when the cabinet was discussing the caste census, the BJP opposed, which is the primary opposition here, was protesting against it. We are really happy you're falling in line with the Congress's, demands now. And this is the result of a consistent effort of our leaders, both Kharge ji and Rahul Gandhi ji. They have been writing letters in Raipur Convention, our plenary session, 85th plenary session of Congress. We took this as a resolution in our Congress Working Committee repeatedly. We have been taking this as a resolution that even in 2024 manifesto of Congress, parliamentary elections, we had this. You show me your BJP manifesto where you have written about caste census. This is a
Maria, can I respond?
Yes, please go ahead. Tuhin Sinha, respond.
Maria, when did the Kaka Kelkar Commission put forth its recommendations? 1957. When were they adopted and National Commission for Backward Caste granted constitutional status? 2018. 61 years later. Who opposed Mandal Commission for 8 years from 1982 till the time it was implemented in 1990? It was solely the Congress party. Who introduced, OBC reservation in NEET exams? It was the Modi government in 2020. So, the Congress should stop waxing eloquent on the issue. The Congress has never gone beyond tokenism. Our problem with the Karnataka so-called, caste census, caste survey, which they had done in Karnataka and Chhattisgarh, was that they did not even have the courage to make it public because they themselves knew that it was manipulated, it was a very hasty act, and the only ostensible reason was to pass on the benefits of reservation to a particular community, which we opposed because that was against the constitution.
Okay. Professor Badri Narayan, let's look at the point which is being made here by the BJP spokesperson about the surveys which have been done by the 3 states. Were they really hasty, and the nature of data which was produced after that survey, what did it really achieve?
Actually, Maria, when this national census will come, all these data collected by the state will be irrelevant because the national data will prevail. And national census data, as you know, are collected through elaborate process, methodological rigor, and in a big exercise. And one of my friends was telling that there are a lot of MSME of caste has been started in the form of caste surveys. So caste surveys need to be transformed in a bigger caste census and well thought, rigorous planned exercise. I think national census will do it, and hopefully we will get more authentic data, not political postured data, because data has no face. You can give it face. So if you use it politically and if you frame it politically, it can tell you a story.
Okay.
So I think national census data, which we expire or we expect that it will emerge as a more authentic data for the development purposes, for the social development, which we can be used.
Amitabh Tiwari, what after caste census? Because will reservation then be extended beyond, the cap will move ahead of 50% and it will be pan-India?
I'm not sure, but there has to be some logical conclusion to the data which will come out. So the SC/ST community already has reservation largely in proportion to the population. So this is largely about the OBC community. Now everybody knows that the OBC community population is not fixed as in not very clear. It's anywhere between 41 to 51%. Some numbers are even above that. But the reservation is around 27% only. So let's say like in Bihar or in Karnataka and Telangana, this numbers comes to around 50-51%. So what do you do with that number? Because then the Congress party could again pitch this slogan, जिसकी जितनी आबादी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी होनी चाहिए. So ultimately, you will have to do something with that number, correct? So the pressure on the government to increase the reservation cap would improve, and now you have an opposition which is willing to lend support to you to increase. This is something which might be in the offing. We might see it in the next 3 to 4 years. See, politics, caste is cast in stone in Indian politics. Around 55% of people, as per an Aziz Premji study, prefer leaders of their own caste. So this is the reality of India. One cannot run away from it. And hopefully, whatever the objectives the government is trying to fulfill by doing a caste census is going to be met by this study.
Okay. Dr. Suraj, please come in and then I'll give the last word to the two politicians on the show.
I think we should look at this update on caste census as a success of a united Bahujan movement that has been lobbying for it. Neither the BJP, neither the Congress were interested in this. And now them carrying the flagpole of success is laughable for someone like me to look at them, because both of them were in power and never took in following administrative steps towards it. So every time when it comes to the issues of castes, both of them have their own unholy acts that they have committed. And of course, now they are undoing it. But if you really have to identify who deserves the credit to this, it is those working class or government employees who united against the government's decision to not conduct census and had series of rallies and protests and functions to educate people about that. And that's the kind of pinnacle of today's kind of outcome of the government doing it. Rahul Gandhi did not wake up one day and thought about doing census. He was defeated back and forth by the very voters that he was pitting against. Now it is to the credit of the president of Congress party, who himself is a staunch anti-caste leader, who is a social justice warrior, Mallikarjun Kharge. I think that influence has played a part. But neither these ruling parties, even the communists for that matter, did not lend support. So when we undermine the cause of Dalits or the backward caste people, the history is far too long. In South, it was Periyar. It was the movement here that continued onwards for the backward class representation. And I think we ought to give credit to those names and those leaders who are not mentioned neither by Congress or BJP.
Point taken. I think both the Congress and the BJP should not take credit here. It is the working class and their efforts over years which has yielded the results today, Bhavya.
Even after having the whole evidence of how we consistently strive towards this, if you want to say something like this, that's fine. Yeah, of course. Without the people, we wouldn't be putting the pressure on the government, and we wouldn't be putting it in our manifesto as well, because it was a very participative exercise we did before creating our manifesto. But this caste census, just by announcing this, we will not let BJP sleep on it and use this as an eyewash, right? One thing, they need to announce the timeline before which they're going to implement this. 2, the budget and the plan which they will be following. 3, just now the BJP spokesperson said they will not be increasing the cap to increase the 50% which has been given in the constitution. According to why they can always amend it.
That's
because
the next question.
The whole purpose of caste census, caste census to identify the communities which are socially, economically and educationally backward and make sure they are representative at the highest
Okay,
level,
go
even
ahead.
in the power structure, right? We
Well,
can't let them sleep on it.
clearly the Congress spokesperson is not aware of the triple test doctrine. So, I think they need to enlighten themselves better. But fact is, historically, Modi government thrives upon challenges, whether it was the abrogation of Article 370, whether it was the historic Waqf Amendment Act, or now, the caste census, which has not happened from 1931, we will execute a flawless, impeccable caste census, which will further lead to inclusive development. And conducting this caste census after 100 years, without political motives and with the best of intent for the country, will set a new paradigm for development.
All right, we have really come to the end of this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us, Tuhin Sinha Bhavya, Amitabh Tiwari, Dr. Suraj, and Professor Badri Narayan. Shifting focus to a newsmaker who's joining me at the moment, Professor Manoj Jha is our RJD MP. Professor Jha, really appreciate your time. A year and a half ago, and we'll be playing a part of that speech as well, Professor Jha, you had said in a speech that it is only this government which can implement caste census. So are we to believe that you also understood the political will Prime Minister Modi can display, or was it also about the numerical strength that the government had and has, and hence, because of that power, it can go ahead with the decision of this nature today?
Maria, let me make a very small modification in your statement. I had not said the government can do it. I said the government will have to do it. Now, why did I say that? Because something which I have been saying, I said it in the parliament also, that an idea which has arrived, you cannot set it aside. Caste census was an idea. I think the voices began from 1970.